Say goodbye to complicated supplement routines. AG1 is your daily multivitamin probiotic for gut health and
Okay, we're going to be starting in just a minute. In the meantime, let me know in the chat room if you can hear the sound of my voice right now. I'm just going to give people a minute to find the stream, because YouTube still won't let me schedule these things. In the meantime, I just want to thank anybody who's new or checking us out for the first time. We've had a nice little influx of new subscribers in the last couple of weeks, thanks to those She-Hulk videos. Yeah, those have been pretty beneficial. Those things are going to get me to 45,000 subs for the year, so that's nice. Wasn't sure if I was going to make it. Then She-Hulk came along, and it's like, oh wait, you'll make it with time to spare. Thank you. So, we're not talking about She-Hulk tonight. So we've got House of the Dragon Episode 3, and also Rings of Power is a thing now. I don't want to speak too much about Rings of Power, in case someone asks me about it, because I might do like a quick take video on that later. I've got to switch back into She-Hulk mode pretty soon, but so I probably won't have time to do a lot of videos on Rings of Power, but I might just do like a quick off-the-cuff type of thing for it. Possibly. We'll see. See if time permits. Anyway. As per usual, I will give my thoughts on the episode, and then we'll do super chats and comments at the end, and then we'll get out of here. Maybe we might not go too long tonight, because I don't think my voice is going to last very long, given how it feels right now. Anywho. Just move that out of the way here. Yoink. Alright, so... Alright, yeah, looks like you guys can hear me in the chat room. Okay, cool. Alright, Rings of Power Episode 3. I think this was the best episode so far. Anyway, we jumped, this one jumps ahead like 3 years. So I don't know if it's like this way in the books. I guess they're just covering like the major events. So I don't know if there's like a set time that each episode is going to jump ahead by, but it looks like they're skipping ahead by a greater amount each time. So we're jumping ahead 3 years this time. The king and Alicent are married now. Their son just turned 2, and she's heavily pregnant with their second kid. So, you know, they haven't wasted any time in multiplying like rabbits. we start in the Stepstones, because that whole business is still going on. The crab feeder guy is nailing some dude's hand to a pike, and he throws a bunch of crabs on him so the crabs will start eating him while he's still alive. It's all pretty horrific. And suddenly Daemon appears, riding his dragon, and just lays waste to everything. The guy who had his hand nailed is elated. "Hail King Daemon, the day is saved! Woohoo!" And then the Daemon's dragon lands on this poor bastard and crushes him. I don't think Daemon even noticed. So Daemon is causing tons of devastation here, but I'm not sure how effective he's actually being. And the crab feeder escapes into the caves. So whatever Daemon was hoping to accomplish here, I don't think he pulled it off. He can certainly create a lot of destruction and chaos, but this war's been going on for 3 years for some reason, and Daemon's got a dragon, so maybe Daemon is just not that good at this. It seems to me if you've got a dragon, you want to be able to take care of a couple pirates pretty quickly, you know what I mean? So otherwise, really good opening sequence. Got over how dangerous both guys are, though Daemon is more chaotic and reckless than he is precise. He doesn't seem to care about results so much. He's just it's like he's so reckless. He thinks just widespread destruction is enough to get the job done. Clearly, it's not. So we go to Prince Aegon's second name day party. Already, there's mounting pressure to name this 2-year-old kid the new heir to the throne, but people aren't really talking to the king about it just yet. King Viserys doesn't really want to talk about work today. One of his advisors does try to tell him that, Your Highness, the Stepstones are kind of a bloodbath right now. We're losing a lot of ships. Daemon and Corlys aren't equipped to handle this situation. We really need to deal with this. But the king just does not want to be bothered with politics right now. He's just focused on the birthday party and wondering why Rhaenyra isn't there. So cut to the princess in the Godswood. She is purposefully avoiding the party. Queen Alicent comes to get her. Things are pretty frosty between these two former friends. Rhaenyra is being very cold, very formal, doesn't respect Alicent as the queen, still feels betrayed by her, I guess. She just wants no part of this and only agrees to come along when Alicent reminds her that the king requests her presence. And she kind of has to go if the king is asking her. Alicent is still very hard to read. I'm not sure how much of this is the character and how much is the actor, but it seems to me that she's enjoying being the queen and all the power that gives her. Last week, it didn't look like she was too enthused about this situation. Now, she appears to have warmed up to it quite a lot. So the whole family is in this private carriage as the king's court rides into the countryside for the hunt. I guess this is a tradition for name day parties or something. There's talk about Rhaenyra having her own child soon enough, and her joining her father in the hunt today. Rhaenyra is barely tolerating this situation for several reasons, mainly because no one's actually here for her. This is about the prince, who she's pretty certain is going to be replacing her as the heir, and it's only a matter of time before that happens, though she hasn't spoken about this yet. And sure enough, when they arrive, the prince is greeted with huge raucous applause, while Rhaenyra just sits in the carriage stewing, just listening to this, feeling like a total afterthought. And I like all this. The character dynamics have gotten more interesting and complex now. There's tension between everybody these days. Rhaenyra is getting a little more to do now. I'm starting to get a better feel for her character as we start getting a peek at what's going on inside her head. Also, the king has lost 2 fingers since last episode. So the Iron Throne just keeps taking more chunks out of this guy every week, which Does not seem like a fun gig at all. So there's another party before the hunt. All right, the women are talking about the situation in the Stepstones. They seem to think that the king needs to step in and deal with this because Daemon and Corlys started this conflict and now they aren't able to end it. Rhaenyra listens to this but doesn't have much to add beyond taking a dig at the women about how they aren't doing anything either. So she goes outside, where she's greeted by Lord Jason Lannister, who tries to talk her up about how awesome Casterly Rock is and whatnot. How, well, they don't have a dragon pit, but they can build one, and he's trying to work his mojo on her, basically. But, she realizes pretty quickly what's going on. She's not having it, marches back into the tent, gets in her dad's face about this. He thinks Lannister is a great match for her for all the political reasons, but Rhaenyra just doesn't want to be married right now, which is, I suppose, is partly because she's only 17 and partly because she's doing it to spite her father for marrying her BFF, who she clearly had a crush on herself. So things are tense between them two. The king has just been drowning in marriage overtures for the princess's hand, and he's feeling a lot of pressure to get her spoken for. She's resisting him every step of the way, because that's really the only way she has to defy him right now. And it's getting him really frustrated. He even blows up at her a little bit here in front of everybody. So she storms out, right? It takes off on her horse. Sir Criston Cole follows her. She gallops away so fast that she kind of loses control of the horse, so he has to help her out. And these two are friendly. So she confides in him about some things. She's feeling very trapped by this situation. She's the princess, but she feels completely toothless. He reminds her of the power she has that, maybe she doesn't totally appreciate. She had enough power to make him a king's guard, which is the highest honor any Cole has ever had, so, that doesn't seem toothless to him. And so we cut to the hunt. The king and his men are tracking a white hart, which I guess is like an albino stag or something. Hightower sees this as a sign that the gods are showing their favor to Prince Aegon on this day, because the white hart is a sign of royalty, I think. And you know what that means. There's a subtle moment here where the king is having trouble getting on and off his horse. Like he needs like a little step stool to do it now. And some of the men exchange uneasy glances while he does it. So his health is continuing to deteriorate. I'm not sure how long he's going to last at this rate, but as I understand it, in the book, he continues on for quite a while. Then again, with the way the timeline keeps jumping ahead, they might cover several decades before the end of the season, so who knows? I mean, I can't imagine he's going to last that much longer. But, I mean, they could, and conceivably, they could keep him alive for, I don't know, the entirety of Season 1. Because, I guess after Episode 5, they're going to jump ahead like 10 years, and that's when the child actors get swapped out for adult versions. So, I guess he could still be around by then. I'm not sure how they're going to keep him alive that long at this rate, though. So they go back to the party for a while, because that was enough hunting for the time being. The king's drinking more than he should. Jason Lannister presents him with a gift, like this super special spear he had made that the king might use for the hunt, and he suggests that he would be quite happy to take the princess for his wife. But the king gets very testy at the suggestion that he might be installing Aegon as the new heir to the throne, because that's Rhaenyra's position. He's still very reluctant to change that. And he also talks to Hightower. Like, he admits that he wants his daughter to be happy, and he doesn't really know what to do about any of this. Because, I mean, the princess has to take a husband. That's part of the gig. She's got to get married off and start cranking out babies. Hightower makes the suggestion that perhaps betrothing Rhaenyra to her half-brother, the 2-year-old prince, might be a way to remedy this. And holy shit, I thought the betrothal stuff last week was gross. I get that's the world they're living in, but oh my god. I feel icky even talking about this. The king, to his credit, doesn't want to hear that either. I mean, he's sick of all the politics today. He just came for the hunt and doesn't want to deal with this shit anymore. Then another guy talks to him. This is the dude who advised him last week, and I like this guy a lot. He seems to be like the one person on the small council who doesn't have some sort of agenda and just wants what's best for the realm. And Viserys even suspects that, he thinks that his son would be a good match for Rhaenyra, but the guy says, no, yeah, that's flattering, but no. In my opinion, I think the best course of action would be to marry Rhaenyra to Laenor, the son of Lord Corlys. Because politically, that would solve all the problems that Viserys marrying Laena Velaryon last week would have done. So again, this dude is giving the king, like, sound political advice. And he seems to be the one guy who does that. So this guy should be promoted. Like make him like a special advisor to the king or something. Because he's the only one who's being straight with the king and doesn't have some sort of, like a darker machinations or who isn't trying to advance himself politically somehow. That seems to be the one guy who's playing it straight. Out in the Kingswood, Sir Criston is advising the princess that they really should return to camp, but she'd rather just stay out there. She asks him if the realm would ever accept her as their queen, because she's got a lot of doubts about that right now. He doesn't have a great answer, and he just says that they'd have no choice but to, which really isn't what she wants to hear. Then they hear some noises off in the darkness. Right? Sir Criston pulls his sword, ready to fight, but a wild boar charges out of the woods towards him. It knocks Criston out of the way. He really goes flying, too. It's kind of funny. I'm not sure how he wasn't injured in that. But the boar goes straight for Rhaenyra. It's got her on the ground, but she's able to stab it with her knife. Still alive, though, so she just starts stabbing it over and over and starts sobbing as she's doing this, as she's venting all her frustrations and getting covered with this thing's blood. And again, I really like this. They're showing the princess has a lot of steel inside her, but she's still very vulnerable at the same time, so she's not a Mary Sue. That's good. It means she's a real character. I like that. And it's probably the most the actress has emoted in these 3 episodes, so, good on her. Cut to the king standing by the fire. We got another good scene here. He confesses to Alicent, which autocorrect changed to ailment. Man, I don't know how George R.R. Martin does this. I know he's got that DOS computer that probably doesn't have autocorrect yet, but man, autocorrect is so annoying when I have to type out all these names. It keeps changing them. So he confesses to Alicent about what's going on in his head right now. Apparently, when Rhaenyra was a little girl, he had a dream about a son who would be born to him, a son who would wear the conqueror's crown. And he believed that he would have this son, believed it so much that it got his late wife killed, because he was trying to save the baby. It cost him his wife, and then the baby died too. And when that baby died, he no longer believed in this dream anymore, and that's why he named Rhaenyra his heir, because he didn't think he would have another wife or any more kids, and he thought he was doing this out of love, and naming Rhaenyra the heir would be a way to make up for taking her for granted. He thought he was doing the right thing, but now he does have a new wife, he does have more kids, and maybe that dream came true after all, so he doesn't know what the hell to do now. Maybe he was wrong, he doesn't know. And it's another, like, really strong scene. Viserys is not one of my favorite characters, but I am gaining more of an appreciation for him. He's a guy who's like, not really cut out to be the king, and he's trying to make the best of it, but he doesn't really have what it takes. Unbeknownst to him, Rhaenyra does seem to have the goods, but the realm probably wouldn't accept her just because she's a girl. He doesn't want to renege on her being the heir because she is still his daughter, but politically speaking, it's an unwise way to go, so the only way to put the realm at ease would be to do the thing that would alienate his daughter from him even more. It's not an enviable spot to be in for a king or a dad. So, back to the hunt. The men have captured a big stag. It's not the White Hart, but it's a big motherfucker. So they kind of hold it still with ropes while Viserys spears it. But he's pretty unsteady on his pins right now, so it takes him a few tries. Meanwhile, the real White Hart appears before Rhaenyra and Ser Criston, but Rhaenyra decides to just let it go. So they return to the camp with the boar Rhaenyra killed. All the men look pretty impressed. Some people look intimidated. And she's just walking past them, covered in the boar's blood, and just not looking at anybody. And, she doesn't let it show, but, she's enjoying this moment. She just proved herself in a way that the king really struggled with. So, good on her. So, later back at the castle, Hightower advises Alicent, which again autocorrect changed to ailment. I don't want it to be ailment. If I wanted ailment, I would have typed ailment. It's Alicent, you stupid computer. Advises Alicent that Prince Aegon being named the heir would be, best for everybody, because if Rhaenyra sat on the Iron Throne, the realm would just tear itself apart. That's how much it would refuse a woman sitting on the Iron Throne. Alicent, not ailment, you piece of shit device, is uncomfortable at the idea of taking that away from Rhaenyra, because she still feels a little bit of loyalty to her, even though she made her choice. But her father is pretty convincing when he tells her that she needs to make the king see reason on this. So she talks to Viserys. He insists that Rhaenyra needs to be married off. It's not something they can really avoid forever. She assures him that she will, but she needs to think it's her choice. Okay. Also, there's a letter there from Corlys's brother, pleading for aid in the Stepstones because Corlys and Daemon are losing the war badly. And Viserys thinks it would look really bad for him if he provided aid to a war started by two malcontents who defied him. But she's like, well, wouldn't it be better for the realm if the crab feeder thrived? If the crab feeder died, rather than thrived? I mean, he's hurting the realm by, prolonging this war, isn't it? Wouldn't it be better to just put an end to this? I mean, that seems to do the trick. Anywho, Viserys does listen to Alicent. So, he sends a letter off to Daemon, and then he talks to Rhaenyra. She finally puts it out there that she believes that he means to replace her as the heir, and he has no use for her anymore now that he has the son he always wanted. He insists that he doesn't mean to replace her, he wants her to be happy, but they do have duties, as the royal family, to strengthen their line and play the political game and whatnot, and she kind of spits in his face that if politics was all this was really about, if that was all he was concerned with, he would have married Laena Valerian. So, so he basically calls him on his bullshit, basically. He has to admit that's true, but it doesn't change anything. He tells her, strengthen her own claim to the throne, have a family, have kids, find a match that she likes, seek him out herself, find one that pleases her, just like he did. Oh, that last line, that was the wrong thing to say. She really didn't like that, but she keeps it to herself. I think like the subtle hints that Rhaenyra had not straight feelings for Alicent is something the actors came up with. I'm not sure if that was in the book, but it'll be interesting if that ever comes to light. Like, will she ever confront her father about that, or ever talk to Alicent about that? I would hope so. It's not like Game of Thrones ever went against canon, so I guess they could. It'd feel weird if that just stayed buried. Anyway, he promises up and down that she won't be replaced, but she probably doesn't believe him. And then we cut to the Stepstones. Corlys's younger brother is none too happy about the state of things. They're losing, and their rations are running out. I'm not really sure why they can't just withdraw and get more supplies. But I guess they can't. Every time they try to take the crab feeder down, he just retreats into the caves. They think they need to bait him out, but good luck finding someone willing to sacrifice their body for that one. Laenor suggests that Daemon might do it. The brother thinks Daemon is why they're losing this war, but Laenor is like, well, at least Daemon's fighting the war. At least he's doing something, unlike you, Uncle. So the uncle is just like a big complainer who isn't really useful for much, I guess. Now, Daemon shows up on his dragon just in time to be greeted with a messenger from the king with a letter saying that Viserys is sending aid to help them put an end to this war, because even though, they've been estranged for a while, he doesn't wish them to fail. And Daemon really doesn't like this. This was his chance to prove himself, to strengthen his claim to the throne. If he could take down this crab feeder pirate that the king refused to deal with. He wanted that moment for himself. And he's been trying for 3 years, hasn't done it, and now the king has to bail him out. He gets really butthurt about that, because this means he failed. So he beats the shit out of the messenger, and then leaves in a rowboat. With the king sending aid, Daemon's got one last desperation play to make, or risk the humiliation of his brother bailing his ass out. And Daemon is so aghast at this that he's basically risking his life. That's how much this means to him. So, we get this big final sequence to end the episode, and this whole scene is fantastic. Daemon takes his boat to the crab feeder's territory. He goes in alone, he waves a white flag, he offers his sword, acting like he's surrendering. So the crab feeder, emerges from the cave, but he stays at a safe distance, as archers standing at the ready to take Daemon down if he tries anything funny. But some men approach Daemon, he suckers them in, he kills them, he takes up his sword, charges at the crab feeder, all the archers start firing away, none of them can hit him, and the crab feeder is making like Zap Brannigan in Futurama here, sending wave after wave of his own men at Daemon, but Daemon takes them all out like a boss. Credit to Daemon, he may be a reckless asshole, but the guy's a badass. Finally, though, after avoiding 3 or 4 waves of arrows, he does eventually get hit with a few of them. He goes down, he's surrounded, looks like he's screwed, so he pulls the arrows out, gets ready to go down swinging, but then reinforcements arrive. The king's army shows up along with a couple dragon riders, they even the odds, they start wrecking shop, huge battle ensues, and it's pretty awesome. This is comparable to some of the better battle sequences in Game of Thrones. Maybe not the super huge ones like Battle of the Bastards or whatever, but it's up there. Daemon feels his moment slipping away from him. So, he spots the crab feeder, chases the dude into the caves, and we get a few minutes of this really bloody, vicious battle going outside, and eventually he emerges dragging the crab feeder's corpse, or what's left of the corpse. Man, he really hacked that guy to pieces. So he's dragging the guy's torso and head and one arm. Everything else is gone. Daemon really wrecked this guy. So he got the crab feeder. He ended the war, I'm assuming. But he didn't do it without help. So he got the Duke, he got the moment he wanted, but he probably won't be able to enjoy it very much. Because he does kind of owe the day to the king for bailing him out. And it remains to be seen how that is going to affect Daemon. Or the political situation. And this episode was really good. It's still pretty slow-paced. But the action, when they got to it, was really excellent. Like, the first 2 episodes seemed a little bit dull, focusing on just the political infighting of the Targaryens, but here they found a nice balance of politics and hardcore action, and I get that they had to build up to it for a while, but it just took a little bit took a minute to get there, you know? It turns out it was worth the wait, however, and I'm happy about where the show is going now. I wasn't incredibly enamored with the way it began. I thought, you know, it's fine. It's not bad. It's just not blowing me away yet. But, you know, pretty good stuff. It just didn't thrill me. So kind of a slow beginning, but it's getting better. You know, it's improving week over week. You know, the story's ramping up, tensions are being heightened, we're getting more action now, characters are beginning to grab me a little bit more. I don't know how I'm going to feel when they jump forward in the timeline and swap out the child actors for the adult ones, but for now, the show is doing what it needs to do. It's figuring itself out, and I'm on board for the ride. You know, this was good stuff. I am excited to see the next episode now. Didn't really feel that for the first 2 weeks. I'm like, yeah, all right. I guess I'll watch the next one to see what happens. Now I'm excited to see episode 4. So I think they finally got me. All right. See what you guys are saying. Can't wait for Rhaenyra and Aegon's wedding. Oh boy. She married the 2-year-old. So they actually do marry those two off? Oh my god. I mean, I know Rhaenyra has a couple husbands. Only, I think there's one of them that is not gross in some way. But, yeah. She really marries the 2-year-old, huh? Oh, God. There's also Cobra Kai Season 5 this week. Yeah, there is. It's going to drop while I'm in the middle of making the She-Hulk video, though. God, Jesus Christ. I hope I'll be able to cover that. I want to do a video about Cobra Kai, but man... You know, She-Hulk episodes dropping on Thursday is so inconvenient. It doesn't work with my schedule at all. You know, as much as I hated Batwoman Seasons 1 and 2... I mean, those episodes dropped on Sunday, and that worked perfectly, because I could be done with the video by Wednesday, and then, you know, the rest of the week could be freed up to cover, like, a new Netflix series or a movie dropping on the weekend or something. Now, everything's dropping at the same time. And I have to pick and choose, and it's really annoying. And still can't believe that you're below 50,000. Well, you know, sometimes these things just take time, I guess. My subscriber growth is weird. It kind of goes in like little spurts. It's like I'll go through a period where there's like almost no sub growth at all, and then I'll get a lot of subscribers from out of nowhere really quickly, and then there'll be another down period, and then another spurt. So, right now, things are ticking up, thanks to the She-Hulk videos. So that's nice. Because, for most of the year, growth was pretty slow. But She-Hulk is proving to be a nice algorithmic hotspot. I guess there's a big demand for She-Hulk content right now, so putting a lot of work into those videos, and people are responding. We got a nice little viewership has been stronger than normal for those videos, and getting some nice ad revenue on that too. So that's been very helpful. And we have a super chat. Let's see what Yum. Sorry, that's my apartment is right next to the road here. That was big truck just drove by. If you heard that, Yum eat 'em up. Thank you for the super chat. Speaking of She-Hulk, thank you for your service and your sacrifice. You're welcome. We thought you had escaped the cringe with the ending of Batwoman, but such is life. Once more into the breach, my good sir. Well, I got a little bit of a reprieve after Batwoman got canceled, but the work is far from over. And a lot of people have asked me about that. Have mentioned this. Like we thought Batwoman was as bad as it got. No, Batwoman is still like the worst of the worst. I mean, She-Hulk is not good, but it's got a long way to go to be as bad as Batwoman. Like I said in the comments, at least She-Hulk has a budget. Like, they're spending it on the wrong things, but at least they've got money to play with. Batwoman was extraordinarily cheap. Also, at the end of the day, I think the writing on Batwoman was still a lot worse. I mean, She-Hulk hasn't been good, but Batwoman was like 10th level of hell stuff. We're not there with She-Hulk yet. It's got a ways to go before it becomes that horrible. Is this series a limited series, or is it going to continue with more seasons? Oh, I would imagine they're going to continue it as long as they can. I think they already got greenlit for season 2. I don't know if they're going to continue with this cast. If they keep jumping ahead in the timeline, I mean, they're gonna cover like the entirety of this generation of Targaryens pretty quickly. Maybe they'll skip ahead to a new cast and cover a new story. Maybe eventually get up to Robert's Rebellion or something. Yeah, that could be pretty cool. But I mean, if they're jumping ahead years at a time in between episodes, I don't know how long they can stick with this cast. I mean, they're going to be covering at least 2 decades in this season. So I don't know how much I don't know how many events there are in Fire and Blood to cover, but I mean they've only got 1 book. So I don't know how long they could string this along without changing the cast out. Something that bugs me is the fact that they already skipped 2 years in between the second episode and the last one. It significantly messes up the continuity factor. I don't necessarily agree. It seems like they're covering they're skipping ahead to the major events. So I don't think anything super interesting has happened in between 2 and 3. Now, in between 1 and 2, it looked like there was a lot happening. That I felt like was a mistake. But between 2 and 3, it seemed like things were, fairly quiet, aside from the war that didn't really appear to be going anywhere. Now, as long as we're covering the major events and skipping over anything that's not that important, I don't see a problem with this. But it does appear like they skipped over some major stuff in between 1 and 2. That felt like a mistake to me. They teased us with Corliss's betrayal at the end of 102. Then came 103, and bang, Viserys is already a father again twice. You think Corlys and Daemon were planning to overthrow the king, but nah. I don't think Daemon's there yet. Because, during that scene, Corlys was kind of throwing shade at the king, and Daemon was like, I can speak ill of my brother, you can't. So I guess there is still some Targaryen loyalty there, so he'll defy the king, but he might stop short of overthrowing him. At least right now. Again, I haven't read the book. I don't know if he tries to overthrow him later on. And he is still the king, which means he's technically more powerful than either of them. Maybe they just don't have the power to really defy him. At least not with the realm on his side, anyway. Jumped ahead. Keep losing my place. I'm pretty upset that Millie will be replaced by Emma Darcy as Rhaenyra. I enjoy her performance very much. She's 22 in real life. I don't know why they had to change. Oh, she's older than I thought. I'm still, I'm still not too sure about the actress. I liked her performance in this episode the most, so she's growing on me. I feel like I'll probably have gotten attached to her by the time they swap her out. So, yeah, I mean, if she's in her 20s, they could probably do the time jump, and have it make sense. I don't know how old Emma Darcy is, but yeah, I thought she was still. I thought she was still in her teens. So, I don't know, if she's 22, they could probably make it work. So I don't know, that seems unnecessary. Hoping that your coverage of the Rings of Power could help you grow. Disborough has seen a ton of growth since he started covering it, led up to the show. Yeah, the problem with Rings of Power is I'm not a Tolkien guy. I don't know much about, Tolkien's lore, beyond the Peter Jackson trilogy. So I was hesitant to do any coverage of it because I don't know a lot about that world. And I don't feel like I'd be able to speak on it intelligently beyond just what kind of TV show it is. And because if they do something that violates the lore in some way, I probably wouldn't know. Besides, we're seeing a lot of growth thanks to She-Hulk anyway. Well, maybe not a lot of growth, but more than what we had a few weeks ago anyway. What's worse, She-Hulk or Naomi? Well, I never had a chance to watch Naomi. They canceled it pretty quickly. I'll say probably Naomi. Did you like the She-Hulk twerk? No, no, you know, I talked about this in the video, but what's annoying about the twerking is that she's basically encouraging all the stuff she said she didn't like. Like in episode 1, she complained about getting catcalled. In episode 2, she complained about nobody at the workplace taking her seriously as a professional lawyer. And now, episode 3, she's twerking in her office that has windows for walls. So the entire office can see her twerking, shaking that ass with Megan Thee Stallion spanking her. And it's like, well, isn't this just going to encourage all that stuff that you said you didn't like? I mean, this is going to get you catcalled. You said you didn't like that, but here you are basically encouraging it. I mean, you said you wanted to be taken seriously. Well, who's going to take you seriously when you're doing stuff like this in the workplace? I mean, shouldn't you just act, if you want to be taken seriously, why not just act like a professional? And let it, and work hard and have your new coworkers grow to respect you for doing good work. If you act like if you're shaking your ass in your office like this, I mean, people aren't going to respect you for that. It's just, but the writers don't care. They just thought, OMG, Megan Thee Stallion, we got to do some twerking because celebrity cameo. It's like they don't give a shit. I mean, that's the problem I had with it. It's just they don't care about proper characterization. They don't care about continuity. They just want to do silly stuff, and they're not really thinking about how it impacts everything else. Damn, I was cleaning and completely missed this notification. Jason Sandhu, for the record, I don't know if this is your first time here. The reason I try to do these things at the same time every week is because YouTube won't let me schedule the streams in advance for some reason. I don't know why. I've tried asking Team YouTube on Twitter about this. They can't seem to figure it out either. So, for future reference, if you're missing a notification, as long as I'm doing these House of the Dragon streams, they're going to continue to be on Tuesdays at 9 p.m. Eastern. Always at the same time of week. Like the same day, the same time. So, if you miss a notification, just tune in here at 9 p.m. on Tuesdays. That's 9 p.m. Eastern on Tuesdays. So, hopefully a notification won't be necessary. Why are you using the all-seeing eye of the devil? I'm using it because that's my avatar. Funny thing about that, that is actually the first thing I ever edited. This image that you're looking at right now, that is the first thing I ever edited. When I first got Adobe Premiere, I was just starting to learn Premiere Pro, and I didn't have anything to edit, so I took a picture of my eye, and I started screwing around with color correction, and it became my avatar that you're looking at right now. And that also became the eyes of the universe thing that you see at the start of all my videos. That's where that came from. So I don't know. I guess I kind of lucked out that this ended up looking good. Getting a Rings of Power review from you too. possibly. Yeah. All right. You know what? I got. I made a few notes about Rings of Power here in case this came up. Again, don't want to talk too much about it in case I might want to do a video about this later. So I'll just speak briefly, give you some rough thoughts about this. I watched the first 2 episodes. I think this show will probably play better the less you know or care about Tolkien. And I admittedly don't know much about Tolkien, but even with the very little I do know about it, I know there's a lot of liberties being taken here. I will say, generally, it looks really good. I mean, it fucking better. I mean, they spent $1 billion on it. But, yeah, I mean, there's a lot of money on the screen. I mean, it looks gorgeous. I mean, the dwarf city especially, holy moly. When I saw that, my jaw fell open. But we knew it was going to look great. We knew they were spending like all the money on it. So, you know, that was to be expected. You know, the question was always going to be with the writing. And unfortunately, that's not great. First thing I really noticed about this was, and I don't know, you can call this a negative or a positive, maybe. I don't know how you guys feel about this, but there were a bunch of characters that feel kind of like just reskinned versions of one from the Peter Jackson trilogy, from The Lord of the Rings. Like, there's these 2 characters, an elf man and a human woman. For the life of me, I cannot remember their names. But I guess they're in a relationship of some kind. That I guess like people in the woman's town are kind of frowned on. I guess it's taboo because the elves are. I don't really know what the situation is. I guess the elves are kind of like not like an occupying force, but they're kind of. I don't know, they're kind of like watching over the town and making sure nothing happens to it or something. Like the people in the town don't like that the elves are here. I'm not sure why the elves are here. Like maybe this was like a battleground during like all the business with Sauron, and now they're just sticking around to make sure like the peace remains or something. But bottom line, the elves are still there. People in the town don't like it, but these 2 are in a relationship, which feels like some kind of not-so-subtle allegory for interracial relationships because the elf is black. I guess that isn't mentioned, but, you know, he's an elf, and she's a human, and people don't like it. And it just, I don't know, it felt like, to me, a less interesting and much more on-the-nose version of Arwen and Aragorn. Because, again, elf-human relationship, and it's never going to be as interesting as Arwen and Aragorn were. It's just not. And also, we've got this other character, the Harfoot character. I think those are hobbits. I'm not sure why they aren't calling them hobbits. I don't know what a Harfoot is. Are Harfoots and hobbits different? Are they the same race? Did they not have the rights to use the word hobbit? I don't know what's going on there, but there's this village of Harfoots, which I guess are like hobbits or maybe hobbit adjacent. There's this character Nori, who is one of the more likable characters in this thing, actually. I thought she was cool. She's like more of an adventurous hobbit. She kind of wants to go out and see what there is to see in the world, and you know, all the other Harfoots are telling her, no, you need to stay here, stay in the village, just take care of the people and whatnot. But no, she she's got an adventurous streak in her, and she kind of feels like another Bilbo. Like, like a Harfoot who wants to go out and have adventures and stuff, and like there's shades of Bilbo here, and okay, maybe that's why I like this character. But again, it's like we've kind of seen this before, and I don't know if these are new characters or if they're from the lore or something, but they feel kind of derivative. And again, I do actually like Nori. I mean, the actress is one of the more enjoyable ones in the cast. It's all just feels very familiar. Again, the actress does have a lot of personality, though. And also, I like the actors for Elrond and the Dwarf Prince. They're pretty good. Not everybody is making as much of an impression, though, yet. Especially one in particular. And this is the big problem with the show. Unfortunately, it's the main character, Galadriel. Okay, one, the actress is not good. She seems to have a pretty limited range of acting ability and facial expressions in particular. I mean, she keeps looking like very, I don't want to say resting bitch face, but I'm not sure how else to describe it. I mean, she always looks very petulant and arrogant, and she comes off that way. It's like, she just acts very bratty, which is weird, because isn't Galadriel supposed to be like thousands of years old? I'm not sure where in the timeline this is, so I guess she's younger than she is in Lord of the Rings, but still, I mean, she's a fucking elf. You'd think she'd be above acting like this by now. Two, her writing is pretty bad. I mean, the show is bending over backwards to give her, just to elevate her a lot above everybody else. And, which just seems so unnecessary. Like, Galadriel was already a great character that people liked. I mean, you didn't need to do this. And also, they've made a lot of weird changes with her character. She doesn't appear to be a sorcerer anymore. Like, I knew she had, I mean, she wasn't like Gandalf or anything, but I knew she had, like, some kind of magical powers in the trilogy. Well, that's not a thing anymore. Now she's a warrior. I don't know when that happened. But it's not just that she's a warrior. Now she's the bestest warrior ever. Like, there's this scene early on that really irritated me. Like she's driving her team because I guess her brother died in the war against Sauron, and she thinks Sauron's still out there. So she's been driving her team to like the ends of the earth, searching for some kind of sign that Sauron's still out there. And her team are just dropping from exhaustion. And the weird thing is, like, she doesn't seem to care about her team at all, by the way. It's like, they're reaching a point where she's definitely putting them in danger of just dying on this mission. She doesn't care. Like, she does not care at all if they live or die. And that has not gone unnoticed. But eventually, they run into this big ice troll or cave troll or something. And the troll basically wipes out the team, just obliterates all of them. And then Galadriel steps in, solo kills the troll all by herself like it's easy after it wiped out her whole team. So they were completely useless. Of course, they're all men. And this really bugged me because there was a scene in I think it was Fellowship of the Ring, where the Fellowship encountered a troll. In that scene, the Fellowship had to all work together to take this thing down. Like, all of them working as a team to fight the troll, and still, they still barely managed to kill this thing. Here, Galadriel kills it all by herself. Like, easily, with like, not even a hair out of place, after it wiped out her entire team. So they couldn't do shit against it. Then Galadriel steps in and just obliterates the troll easily. Like, which, it seems like such a cheap way to go. Like, before we had an entire team working together and still struggling to beat it, and here it's just Galadriel beats it by herself easily. It's like any semblance of teamwork was just thrown away so Galadriel could look like a badass. Which is just not necessary. Galadriel was already a good character. She was already a beloved character without stuff like this. You didn't need to do this. Why couldn't you just have Galadriel be who she is? Like, I don't know if this is in the lore or not. I haven't read the books or anything. I don't know what's in the Silmarillion. So maybe Galadriel was the bestest warrior ever in the Silmarillion. Beats me. Now, you guys would know better than I would. But it just, I don't know. This doesn't track with who I know Galadriel to be, at least not in the Lord of the Rings trilogy. And what's even more annoying is that Galadriel is written to always be right about everything. Like, she's the only one who believes that Sauron is still out there. The only one who believes that Sauron is still a threat. Well, everyone else is telling her, no, it's fine. He's gone. It's all over. The evil is defeated. You can just let it go. So we know Sauron is not defeated yet. Because this is before the Lord of the Rings. So Galadriel is the only one who believes it. And everyone else, so she's right, everyone else is wrong. So this whole episode, I'm wondering, like, is the idea of the show that Galadriel is the only person in Middle-earth who is both a great warrior and intelligent and knows what the real score is? I guess so. Because everybody else is either an incompetent fighter or an idiot, or both. So the writers are just elevating Galadriel to like uber status. Like, I don't know why we're doing all this. I mean, Galadriel was already really cool without elevating her to god tier status, but it's like, I don't know if this was a political thing or not, but it feels so weird and contrary to what I know Galadriel to be. I mean, I don't know why she has to be the best fighter and the smartest person too. I mean, why can't other characters have things? You know? Why does everybody else have to be an idiot? There's a lot of idiots, actually. I mean, there are numerous characters who can't seem to recognize something super evil when it's going on right in front of their faces. Like Nori. And I like Nori. I mean, I already stressed that. I like the character. I like the actress. But, I mean, there's this thing where a guy falls out of the sky. It's like a falling star, but it's a man. I don't know what that's about. But it seems like there's something clearly evil about him, even though he's got, like, amnesia or can't talk or something. But, I mean, she really wants to help him, but she can't see that there's something not right about this dude. Even though, like, living things are dropping dead around him and stuff. There's another character. There's this kid who's the son, I think, of the woman who's in the relationship with the elf. And he has a sword. I don't know if this was Sauron's sword that he found somewhere. I don't know where the hell he could have gotten it. But it's some kind of evil fucking sword. And there's still some kind of magic inside it. And there's one scene where he got cut. And the sword, like, sucks the blood out of the cut. and like absorbs the blood into itself, and it kind of lights on fire and starts to reform the blade of the sword. And this thing is clearly fucking evil. Like, it is sucking his own blood out. He thinks it's the coolest thing he's ever seen. It's like, what the fuck is wrong with this kid? Like, how can he not see that there's something very, very wrong here? Like, I don't... Like, it's sucking your blood out. It's lighting up like hellfire or something. Put the sword down, you idiot! Like, what? I don't know how he... Like, how dense are these characters? Like, I mean... I mean, when you can't see evil right in front of your face, like, is Galadriel the only person who's allowed to see evil for what it is? Like, is she the only person who is allowed to recognize evil when she sees it? I don't know what's going on here. Why does everybody else have to be an idiot? I mean, there are ways of moving your story forward without making every character except one a complete dumbass. But there are a lot of weird storytelling choices like that. And building around Galadriel may not have been the smartest course of action, like the smartest narrative choice, because we already kind of know what happens to Galadriel. Like in episode 2, I think, They tease us with Galadriel passing into the elven afterlife. I guess, like, she didn't want to go, but I guess the choice was kind of made for her. She is really driven to find Sauron and finish her mission, and she really doesn't want to go. So, the elves are like putting their weapons down as they pass into the afterlife, and she really doesn't want to give up her knife, and they try to take it from her, and she's holding onto it like, no, it's mine, stop. And she finally gives it up, and they really tease like, oh, is she going to go to the afterlife? Is she not going to go to the afterlife? It's like, guys, we already know she's not going. Why are you dragging this out? Why are you belaboring this? We already know what decision she makes here. Is this a decision she made in the books? Like, why are we even bothering with this? We know she's staying in Middle-earth. Why are you doing this? It just feels like we're wasting a lot of time here. It's like, I don't know why they even bothered, like, putting her on the boat in the first place. So, of course, she jumps off the boat and starts swimming back. I don't know why we bothered with any of this. So, I mean, that's all the notes I have here. I don't know. I mean, it still looks amazing, but there are so many writing choices, narrative choices, acting choices that are very strange. I mean, there's one or two likable characters in there. Again, Elrond is cool. The actor doesn't look like Hugo Weaving, but he gets the character. The Dwarf Prince, I forgot his name, but he was cool. The actor was pretty good. And again, Nori is pretty fun, even if she is kind of dense. So there's a couple characters in there I kind of liked. But a majority of them, they're not clicking right now. I don't know what the hell they're doing with Galadriel. I don't like it. The actress is not good. The character is just being written like a fucking brat. I don't get the characterization. Even if this is a younger Galadriel, it's like you've still probably got thousands of years on everybody else, like all the non-elf characters. Like, why are you acting like this? Like, why are you acting so immaturely? It just doesn't feel right. And again, I don't know how much of this is in the books and how much isn't. I'm guessing a lot of this was made up for the show. So I don't know. It feels very inauthentic to Tolkien's work to me. Even with what little I know about it, which again is not very much. Let's just make that clear. So maybe they're following the books or like the Silmarillion or the lore or whatnot. Maybe they aren't. I don't know. I'm guessing they made up a lot of this. I mean, it is a big topic of conversation, so I'm probably going to watch like a number of these episodes just to see what happens, because I am kind of morbidly curious to see what's going on. And again, maybe I'll do some quick take videos on it, but I don't know, man. This just didn't feel right to me. So yeah, that's all I got for Rings of Power right now. That's about as extensive as I could get into it with the time I had, because it actually took me like I think, I don't know, 2 or 3 days to finish these episodes. I just didn't have the time, because I've had other stuff on my plate. And again, you know, those She-Hulk videos take a little while to make, because those long-form episodic reviews, that's like 3 days. That's why the day of the week they drop on is kind of important, because She-Hulk drops on Thursday, which means I'm working on that pretty continuously until Sunday morning, so I don't have much time for anything else, you know, during that period, which is really going to complicate things if there's a new movie I want to cover, or like this weekend when Cobra Kai drops, I think on Friday. It's like I want to cover that, but I'm right in the middle of She-Hulk here, so I might have time to watch a couple episodes, but I won't be able to start the video until Sunday afternoon at the earliest. But then I gotta watch, you know, House of the Dragon and get ready for the live stream and other stuff. It's like, when am I gonna have the time to do all this? I don't know. Ugh. We'll figure something out. So I would like to cover Rings of Power in more depth, but what I just gave you, that's about all I can do with the time I have. Because, you know, I just finished with She-Hulk a couple days ago, and then I gotta watch House of the Dragon, take notes on that, and now She-Hulk, episode 4, drops tomorrow night, so I gotta shift back into She-Hulk mode, which is primarily where this new influx of subscribers is coming from. So I got to kind of focus on that. So those are my thoughts on Rings of Power. If you guys want something more extensive, I might be able to do sort of a quick take, rough thoughts, like overview video a little bit later. Maybe if I have the time. No promises on that, but that's what I got right now. I thought Bruce had the only inhibitor. Yeah, that was weird, wasn't it? I thought that too. Again, I don't think the She-Hulk writers give one single shit about continuity. I don't think they care. Because in episode 1, Bruce had a power inhibitor that he invented to stop himself from turning into the Hulk. Right? When it broke in the car crash, that was it. He couldn't make another one, because it was only a prototype, and for some reason, he didn't make any schematics or plans of the damn thing, which, I don't know why. He's supposed to be one of the premier scientific geniuses of the Marvel Universe, but he doesn't make any schematics of a new invention. It's idiotic. Anyway, that was gone, so that wasn't a thing anymore. But then, 2 episodes later, power inhibitors are just widely available now because we need them to be for the plot to happen. So, I guess somebody else just invented superpower inhibitors off-screen, basically. It's so stupid. Like, these writers have no idea what they're doing. It wasn't even a big plot point. It was just something they needed to get from A to B for this stupid parole subplot that wasn't even well-written anyway. hobbits are rarely seen outside the Shire, but there are several sub-races that are similar to hobbits. Smeagol was sort of a sub-race of hobbit. Oh, okay. So I guess Harfoots are like an offshoot of hobbits. Okay, all right. I thought it was like a slang term for hobbit or something. All right. One of 3 delineations of hobbits. Okay, well that would have been useful to know. Like, cause like the 2 humans who walked through the territory, they were like, oh, Harfoots are like monsters or pests or something. It's like, well, can you give me more information? Yeah. Alright, glad you touched on how unlikable the actress playing Galadriel is. Yeah, she's not good. Did not get off to a good start at all. Did you see that Arcane won an Emmy? Did they? I know it won something. I didn't know, did they even do the Emmys yet? Shit, I haven't been paying attention. I really haven't paid attention to the Emmys at all. What award did it win? Glad it won something. I haven't heard anything about the Emmys. I know the nominations went out, and I saw that Oscar Isaac got snubbed for Moon Knight. He absolutely should have been nominated for Moon Knight. I don't know why he wasn't. That's bullshit. I guess he wasn't because superheroes show. That's horse shit. He should have won an Emmy for Moon Knight Episode 5. So I saw that he got snubbed and didn't really look at anything else. But I'm glad that Arcane won something. That's good. That show deserves every accolade it gets. Thor 5 gets a new director. Your thoughts? Good. I think Taika Waititi needed to be humbled a little bit. Because if Thor: Love and Thunder proved one thing, it was that he needed to be, and I said this in the video, that the dude needs to be kept on a leash. Because he's a talented filmmaker, but give him too much leeway, and you get stuff like this. Because that was not the movie that Thor: Love and Thunder should have been. He learned all the wrong lessons from Ragnarok. And the reason Ragnarok worked so well is because it felt refreshing that they went for a lighter, more comedic tone after The Dark World, which was a very dark and dour movie that people didn't really care for. So when Ragnarok came along, it's like, oh, good, this was exactly what I was in the mood for after The Dark World. But then he went even further in that direction with Love and Thunder, with a story that, by its nature, should have been dark. So he learned the wrong lessons, went in the wrong direction, and that movie was kind of a mess, unfortunately. So I'm glad he won't be returning for Thor 5, because they need to go in a new direction with that movie. Which was more cringe, the screaming goats from Love and Thunder or Hulk twerking? Actually, the screaming goats I kind of liked, sort of. I mean, it was a gag that got old kind of quickly, but in very small doses, I kind of like the goats. Femme Thor was cringy. That was the cringy one, especially when she was confronting Gore with her little "You Go Girl" speech, like "I'm the mighty Thor," or "I would accept Dr. Jane Foster." So like, "Eat my hammer," that speech. Oh god, I cringed so hard watching that. Holy shit. Oh man, what were they thinking? She-Hulk twerking, I'm gonna go with Femme Thor was more cringy on that one, just because I had to see that in a theater. I had to buy a ticket to see that. Whereas with it was also a much longer scene. Whereas She-Hulk twerking, that's a couple seconds, and then it's over, and I could just turn it off. Are you planning to cover Superman and Lois again? Probably not. Honestly, I kind of just want to be done with the Arrowverse at this point, or let's say CW, just because I don't think it's in the Arrowverse anymore. I think the producers came out and said that, yeah, we're separate from the Arrowverse. It's a different universe now, or something. I don't know how that works, but I don't really care. It was a decent show last I checked. I think it's gone downhill since then, since I stopped watching. I think even Angry Joe kind of soured on it now, so probably not. Would you live stream on Chucky in the Chucky series? Potentially. I will see what my schedule is like when that starts. I streamed a review for the first episode. I didn't like it. It did not get better after that. I do still kind of root. I do still kind of want to root for it to figure itself out. I don't think it will, but man, I have a pretty big attachment to the first two Child's Play movies, because I don't like a lot of horror movies, but yeah, when I find what I like, I kind of feel a little bit of loyalty to it. So yeah, I will defend Child's Play 1 and 2. Those movies are legitimately creepy to this day. So if there's a new, Chucky project out, I'll probably see it. Except for like Bride of Chucky, Seed of Chucky, that shit, that was crap. But I'll probably check it out at least. I don't know if I'll stream anything. Again, we'll see what the schedule looks like. I don't know, man. The way season 1 ended really made me angry. What they did with Fiona Dorff's character, those idiots. What the hell were they thinking? They are going to come to regret that decision. Creatively, at the very least. Terrible, terrible decision. Jason Sanvu, I did not watch Clash at the Castle. I didn't really care. Unfortunately. Triple H is, doing some good things with the product now. It is getting better. So that's encouraging. Raw was not that good though. I didn't really care, honestly. It just I don't know, the oversaturation of WWE is a little too much for me. In one of the end credit scenes, they show Abomination driving away with his soulmates crying, so maybe he was lying about being reformed. What? When was that? I don't remember that. I have to go back and check that out. I don't remember that. Wait, is that one of those? Wait, they do those like drawings, for like end credits before they do the stinger. Was it one of those that was just like in like art like drawing form? Was it one of those? I don't know. Do you think it's possible for Marvel to right the ship in the next phase? I mean, sure, it's possible. One of those end credit cartoon drawings. Yeah, okay, all right. I didn't really pay attention to those. Possible for Marvel to right the ship in the next phase? Sure, it's possible. I mean, they normally do well with the big tentpole movies. I would expect Kevin Feige would give special attention to, Avengers Kang Dynasty and the other one whose name escapes me at the moment. But I mean, yeah, the guy is spread very thin, so he has to kind of delegate and only devote his attention to micromanage certain projects now, whereas before he could do it with everything. So that is leading to the hit and miss nature of Phase 4, because he doesn't have time to oversee stuff like She-Hulk or Ms. Marvel or whatever, because he'd probably got to focus on the big important stuff. I would expect the two upcoming Avengers movies to be, of similar quality. We don't have the Russo brothers directing Kang Dynasty, unfortunately. That would have been great, but I like what Destin Daniel Cretton did with Shang-Chi. I like that movie, so I think the movie's in good hands. I expect Kang Dynasty will be good. At least. I'm not sure about, the upcoming movies, but, we'll see. I mean, even if the MCU does continue to be a little hit and miss, I mean, the hits are still going to be good. Ms. Marvel was not good, She-Hulk is not good, but, Moon Knight I thought was very good. And again, I still really enjoyed, Hawkeye and Loki. Not saying any of those shows were perfect. They had problems. But overall, I did enjoy them. The other Marvel shows, less so. We're at the bottom of the chat here. So if you got any further questions, get them in. Then we can wrap this up. Hawkeye, Loki, and Moon Knight are still the best, and I wonder what D23 has in store. Those are my favorites, too. D23, a lot of people are expecting them to announce the Fantastic Four cast. I would expect some kind of announcement with that. They should have made She-Hulk's fourth wall breaks be her version of Banner's alternate personality. I don't know about that. I did have one kind of funny idea about that, though. Like, when they get to the big Avengers crossover, I imagine she'll be a part of that. I wonder if she's going to continue doing her fourth wall breaking when she's in a room with all the Avengers and whatnot. Maybe like maybe they could have her do that and have all the other people looking at her like, what are you doing, Jen? Like, who are you talking to? Or maybe they kind of whisper to each other like, what is she doing? she's talking to nobody. Maybe we see it like from their perspective, and She-Hulk is just like talking to an empty wall. Like she thinks she's addressing us, but from their perspective, she's just talking to an empty wall. And maybe have people commenting on that throughout the movie, and then like she'll do it again towards the end, and then another character like walks into the frame like, "Who are you talking to?" You know? I don't know. It's dumb. I thought it was funny though. Not really a question, but I appreciate when you review because it feels like nowadays bias is everywhere, and since your Arcane video, it made me think a lot more critical. Oh, thank you. Is outside of Kate Bishop beating up the Kingpin, Hawkeye worked well in my opinion. Did a great job bringing in a new character while respecting the old one. Yeah, I mean that was my one big complaint, like that and the Echo stuff with Hawkeye. Like ironically, the thing I was kind of worried about with Hawkeye, Kate Bishop, was one of the parts I liked the best, and man, I love that Kingpin was back. I did not like how they used him. And I thought they really dropped the ball with Kingpin, unfortunately. It's not like Kate Bishop like walked all over Kingpin, though. I mean, he put up a fight. I just didn't like how the fight went down and how it was constructed. It seemed kind of cartoonish to me. So yeah, I didn't like that. And again, Echo, I didn't really see the point of Echo. I didn't see why she needed her own series. Like, not every character is a lead character. Not every character needs their own spin-off. It seems kind of unnecessary. I don't know why we can't just go like into the new Daredevil Born Again show, and maybe Echo could guest star on that. She feels more suited to be a guest star than a main character to me. But whatever, we'll see. Tragedy and struggle with life is what She-Hulk lacks and misses since Hulk character is supposed to have, and I believe it's time to end it. Thorias, still love your videos. Yeah, thanks. Yeah, I mean, I don't know about tragedy. I don't know if that's totally necessary, because, I mean, She-Hulk is supposed to be a lighter, more comedic character than Hulk. I mean, if you want to put tragedy in there, then you're making her more like the Hulk, which is kind of what you don't want. She does need to struggle with stuff, though. That's one of the problems I've had with the show so far, is that everything is too easy for her. Like, she hasn't been challenged at all. She loses her job, gets another one after a few minutes. She gets her first case. It's an easy case to win. There are no real roadblocks there. She just makes a case and she wins easily. A supervillain shows up. She defeats her in 9 seconds. 4 supervillains show up. She defeats them in 18 seconds. Easily. She has not been challenged at all. So it's like, as an audience member, I need a reason. I need a reason, like, to root for her, to get behind her. Like, to want her to succeed. They're not giving it to me. It's like, I mean, I kind of want to root for the bad guys now, because they're the ones who have the mountain to climb. They're the ones who have the obstacle to overcome, because She-Hulk is the obstacle. She has no obstacle. She is the obstacle. And that's just not good for getting you to root for a new hero. It's like these writers, they don't know, they have no idea what they're doing. The Wrecking Crew were an embarrassment. Yeah. I think the Wrecking Crew would work if they later get their powers and it actually become a threat then. Yeah, potentially. I don't think it'll happen, though. I mean, given the way this show is written, male characters, if anything, if they stick around at all, I think they're probably just going to continue getting embarrassed. Do you think the Abomination and the Leader are the big villains in She-Hulk, or the watered-down Wrecking Crew? I don't know. No, I think it's Titania. No, I don't think they're going to have a big male villain. I think the males are just there to get embarrassed, basically. That's what they're there for. If any male villains are probably going to end up being like subservient to Titania. I think she's the big bad here. Because I mean, Jamila Jamil is the one getting the press. If there was a bigger villain than Titania, we probably would have known about it by now. So I don't think the Leader is showing up. I don't think we'll see Abomination again. Or if we do, I mean, they'll, I imagine Titania will be their boss or whatever. So yeah, I mean, I said, I think there was like a publicity photo or a production photo or something of like the Wrecking Crew in a future episode. I think like they were with Titania. I think it was some kind of dance off or dance party or something. I think there was some kind of dancing involved. I don't know. So that's a thing. So I imagine she's who their boss is. So get hyped for that. Because we already watched She-Hulk hand Titania her ass in 9 seconds. So, she's going to have an uphill battle. And also, there was that article where Jamila Jamil was saying, yeah, she's the most annoying villain in the MCU. Oh, wow. Great sell. But I'm really excited for this super annoying character. I can't wait to see the super annoying character who you already cut off at the knees by having She-Hulk defeat like it was fucking easy. Yeah, I'm sure she'll be a huge threat. Oh, Jesus Christ. Wow, these writers really have no idea what they're doing. All right. That's about it, I think. How much the stories go? The Wrecking Crew canonically breaks the bridge to Asgard. Yeah, we probably won't be doing that. I don't think they're going to get that much respect, unfortunately. Alright, I think we can probably end it there. Thank you to everybody who showed up tonight. Thank you to Yum Yum Eat 'em Up for the $10 super chat. Thank you to everybody in the comments. Once again, if you're new here, once this stream is over, I'll be setting it to private and then uploading it to the live streaming channel in the next day or two. Link in the description box. Go subscribe to that if you ever want to listen to any of these streams again. Thank you to all the new subscribers who found the channel recently. I'm not sure if I'll be covering Rings of Power in one way or another. I may try to do a quick take type of video on that later. Just something that I can make, edit, and upload very quickly, because that's about all I have time for with the new schedule, with She-Hulk episodes dropping on Thursday. We'll see. And again, thank you very much for tuning in tonight. Again, I guess we're going to continue doing these for the time being. House of the Dragon live streams, Tuesdays at 9 p.m. Eastern, always on the same day and the same time. So if you don't see the notification, because YouTube won't let me schedule these things, or if you don't see the link posted on Twitter, it's always at the same day and time, right here, at the same place, on my channel, talking House of the Dragon. I guess I'll be back next Tuesday at 9 p.m. Eastern to talk about Episode 4. I'm not sure how long the season is, but yeah, I guess we're still doing these for the time being. Again, thank you very much for tuning in. Thank you to all the new subscribers. And I will talk to you guys. I guess I'll see you on Sunday for the next She-Hulk video, unless I upload something before then. Alright, thanks a lot.